seriously.
I'm not answering the next question.
I think he's more articulate and he's able to express better, but I think, I mean, yeah.
If I may say so, you're underselling yourself.
No, I'm not. It's just that I never...
articulated. We'd love to hear like all of these answers from you too. I'm going to insist, right?
I'll ask a question. I'll ask a question. I'll say, because as someone who's kind of gone about it this way, how did you learn about both the technical and the creative side of the craft, given a very hands-on approach and not, let's say, a more studious approach?
So, like he said, camera angles and things like that I learned on the set because I had no prior, I didn't take a course or I didn't do theatre at all. So my first film was where I pretty much learned everything. And of course, when it's like a close-up, you're very limited in how much you can really express, so it's more on the face. And then like he said, when there are wide shots, you have more scope to kind of like use more body language, and in fact, you have to be more expressive. I think, you know, in those days, I think you were considered a very good actor if you could like memorize 2-3 pages of your dialogues and deliver it at one go. Now it's not like that, right? Now you have cut shots and things like that. It's a lot more easier now. And of course my dialogues were never given to me beforehand. It was always on the set. And in fact like dances and things like that was always on the set, and I was very nervous because I really can't dance. So there were no rehearsals, and all my co-stars, my actors were amazing dancers. So then at some point the choreographers would give up on me and say, okay, just walk from here to there. And they'd make the actor do all the dance, the heavy, dancing. I think apart from that, I think I didn't really do, in my time, we weren't taken really seriously. Like if it was only after I became successful were my inputs or my suggestions actually considered. Until then, I would just have to mouth whatever dialogue was given to me. Even if I didn't understand it, I couldn't ask. It was only after I was successful that directors started taking my suggestions and inputs, which was only much later on in my career. So it was very different from what it is today.
Was that the same for the hero as well?
No, it wasn't the same for the hero. He would decide what time he wanted to come, and if he wanted to shoot this scene today or a completely different scene, you actually had to like play to his tunes. But of course, all of it changed once I became successful. So, then I somehow was seen and heard and I existed for,
Ramya, it's so interesting because I remember you mentioning to me several times that you've hardly ever been given a bound script, correct?
Never.
So I wanted to ask the two of you, like, would you be comfortable, would you just go, go for a role simply because the director or the writer has given you like this very passionate, vibrant narration, and have you, like for you it was always about that, so I'd love to have both of you weighing on this, about a bound script versus a good narration.
So as much as again, someone who kind of has a deep respect for screenplay as a craft, for us was not a bound script. I signed my first film largely, and this reason is also largely because up until that point I was like, I want a bound script. I will decide, I will make my decision basis on the fact that there's something on paper and it's a creative decision. But I was so frustrated that I was not being able to understand how to kind of find a good opportunity or an opportunity that felt right. That Faraz came along, and it was Hansam Mehta sir's kind of film that he was championing, and there wasn't a script. It was just that we had a meeting, and the producer at the time, which eventually they didn't produce it, but said that there's this true story incident and we are trying to make a film around this story and this character. And we don't know, but we're looking for someone who can get on board with us, and then we will explore and we will discover the story that we want to tell. So it was a huge leap of faith. I did not know what I was getting into. I put my faith in the director and his kind of previous work, because I understood that he would at the very least make something compelling in a way that is truthful and honest and kind of sincere. And the attraction was that he was inviting me to be a part of his process.
Yeah.
So that was so I didn't actually have a script to go on. And with Black Warrant, Similarly, it was an audition. I got, and in between that also I did a web series which still hasn't released, but both of these were auditions, so I was given only a couple of scenes. I went and I kind of through association of who the people are attached, who's the writer, who's the maker, and basis on faith did the audition and then got selected, got shortlisted, and then got selected, and then finally when I read the script and I was like, okay, this is, I mean, I'm in it now, so great.
I think without a script, I think some of my films are hit or a miss, because sometimes when you're listening to a script, you're imagining something in your head, and then finally when you're on set, it just is kind of different how you imagined it, and then finally when you watch it on screen, it's completely different. And sometimes it's a good thing, and sometimes it could be a bad thing, you know. So I think, but now when you have a bounded script, like down to the shot, everything is there, so everyone's pretty much on the same page. I mean, there's very less room for, you know, it being very different from when you've heard it to what you actually see on screen. So I think that's one good thing about having a bounded script, especially as a producer. Back in the day, we didn't have those kind of budgets, so some artists wouldn't turn up, but then we have everybody else's date, so then we'd have to like shoot from different angles and just like the back shot of body double or something. Or let's say the weather changed all of a sudden. So, you know, things like that. Now, of course, you have bigger budgets and, you know, so you can cancel shoot and things like that. Those days, we couldn't, so, yeah.
But actually, you need immense talent, right, to do what you did, to